is working now. Or if you're watching live, then let me know if this is actually working, because it says poor internet connection, but now it seems to be connected. So, what are 3 problems that I see with becoming a health professional? So people always ask me, or I've even thought about it myself, why don't you do a course in nutrition? Or why don't you become a dietitian? Or why don't you do naturopath training or something like that? And I've actually looked into it myself. But it wasn't until a friend of mine pointed out a few reasons why I shouldn't do it. And she is a class as a naturopath, nutritionist, and a few other things. She's got a few other degrees, which I found it quite curious. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Belinda, and I'm very passionate about helping people recover from sleeping issues, autoimmune problems, thyroid issues, energy issues, and so much more. Okay. And I've had a couple of people reach out recently and say, well, my dietitian says this and it doesn't align with what you're saying. And I'm like, okay, yep, that's fine. You have to listen to what your heart says, right? But because I've looked into doing naturopathy or dietitians or even nutrition before, there's a few things that I realized. And my clinical nutritionist actually pointed a few of these out to me as well. And one of them is that I can't actually help people the way that I want to help people if I do those sort of training. Okay? And that's a real problem for me because I want to be honest and I want to help people the way that I was helped myself. Okay? And that leads to number 2. I would be restricted to the rules and regulations that association, okay, becoming a naturopath or becoming a dietitian or whatever that is, they've got very strict rules, okay, and you need to fit within their little box. And I don't see why anyone should have to fit into a box. It's the same with doctors, right? They have to fit into that little box. And if they step outside that box, they can actually get themselves into legal trouble. It's happened here. It happens in America all of the time. Okay? And so I don't want to be restricted to what I can actually tell people and how I can actually help people. Like, why should that be a restriction? And number 3, and this is not really related to what I do, I suppose, but people get confused. So when people are working with me, they will come and say, but my dietitian says this, or my naturopath says this, but you're telling me something completely different, and now I'm just so confused, I don't know what to do. Okay, because I have this friend, and she's very close to me, and she agrees with a lot of what I say, and I've been pointing her in the right direction. But then you fall into a trap where you go, okay, well, I'll find out if someone else has the same opinion, and everyone's going to have a completely different view. They literally are going to have a completely different view. And you've got to decide which path is right for you, right? And I respect her decision to go and look out for outside help. I am honestly probably too close to help her. Okay, and you'll find that with friends and family. If you know something that will help them in any way, shape or form, whether it be health, business, family, whatever that is, quite often your opinion is probably not going to help them, or your advice can't help them because then you're too close. You're literally too close. And I know that you want to help the people who are closest to you the most, right? I do as well. But quite often they're not willing to listen because you're literally too close. So you have to find someone else who can help them. And so my friend has gone and found a gentleman to help her with her diet and her nutrition. And, the funny part is he doesn't actually say completely different things to what I say. He just says it in a different way. So she thinks that he's saying it in a completely different way. Oh, he doesn't agree with you. And I'm like, well, actually, this is what it is. But the fact is that, a dietitian is going to have completely different training and completely different experiences to what I've had. A doctor is going to have completely different experiences and completely different training to what I have. Okay, and so you've got to find out, you've got to work out yourself whether the advice that I offer helps you or not. Full stop. It doesn't matter what my training is, what my advice is. If you don't believe that it can help you, then it's not going to help you, basically. So you need to find someone who resonates with what's going on in your life and what symptoms you have. And that's probably my number 3 reasons why I would never do further study. Because 1, I can't help people the way that I want to help people. 2, which leads on to this, because I'd be restricted to the associations that and the rules and regulations of that particular association. And 3, people just get confused if you've been bombarded with too much information. And what we need to be doing is following one course until we get the results that we're looking for. If we get too many people's opinions when it comes to anything, health included, like, we're going to get overwhelmed and confused. So if you go to the doctor and then you come and see me and then you go to a dietitian and then you go to a naturopath, you're going to get 4 different views on what you should be doing health-wise and what's going to happen. You're not going to follow through with any of them. And I'm not either. Like, you know, if I got 4 different opinions on something, I'd just go like, oh my God, I'm so confused now, I can't do anything. Like, and you completely shut down. So that's why when I have clients go, oh, but my dietitian says this. And I'm like, well, they haven't actually had the training that I've had. They've had completely different experiences. They're completely different people. Of course they're going to have different experiences. So, you know, you just got to find something that resonates with what you're doing. And maybe they haven't actually had the same health challenges that you have as well. So they don't really understand. Whereas particularly clients of mine who have autoimmune problems, thyroid issues, sleeping issues, energy issues, I have had all of those and I have recovered from them. So, you know, you need to find someone who has had similar problems to yourself and has recovered so that you can follow what they did. It doesn't really matter what their training is, in my opinion, you know, and that's a personal preference. But anyway, that's 3 reasons why I'll never really do the training to become a proper professional, because I'm locked into a little box and I wouldn't want to be, because I can't help the people who need my help the way they need it. Anyway, I hope you found this useful, and if you have been in this cycle where you've gotten, you know, 3 or 4 different people's opinions and have just felt so overwhelmed, then let me know down below, okay? Because I've been there, and I think I've had, you know, at least 5 different opinions floating around in my head, and you don't know which way to go. And when you find real solutions, that's when you actually want to share it with other people. Anyway, you have an awesome weekend, and I will see you this time tomorrow.